everybody, welcome to Conversations with Sheffield Gothic. I'm Lauren and this is Mary. So for those of you that don't know us, which is likely many, Sheffield Gothic is a group of postgraduates and early career researchers based at the University of Sheffield who are interested in all things Gothic. We do lots of things, some of them serious, some of them less so, and hopefully this will be one of our new things.
So you may know us from some of our earlier projects. So we ran the Reimagining the Gothic project, and this year would have been our 6th annual conference, but then a global pandemic happened. So we're not really sure what's happening with that, but hopefully maybe something in the future. We are waiting for information as much as you are, but until then, as Lauren said, here we are. You may also know us from Gaming the Gothic and the Gothic Bible Project, which last year organised a Buffy in the Bible conference, as well as just generally following us on Twitter, which we do spam quite a lot. We're basically, in all of our projects, just interested in any discussion of the Gothic, whether it be academic or more fun and conversational. And we're hoping that this will be something that we can continue that conversation. And be a fun space to explore some of the things that we love, and just have a bit of fun again in a global pandemic.
The global pandemic, yeah, exactly. And we always joke that we started this as a front. You know, it's masquerading as a serious academic organisation, but it's actually a plot to make everybody be friends with us. So it is a serious academic organisation. And we've done things like training days, networking days, conferences, Wikipedia editing events. We're basically interested in making particularly Gothic academia more accessible. So out of the ivory tower and into the general public. And I guess taking it online, it was the natural next step of that, but we are not very good with technology. I am not very good with technology. Mary's actually great at it. So this is this is kind of, we'd always talked about doing this, and when better to take the step online than during an 8-week global lockdown.
And we do appreciate you all for bearing with us in getting this, whatever this is, set up. Lauren has been, I joke, doing the Lord's work. She has a side job that is very important, and I've just been hibernating in my flat for the past however many weeks. I don't know, I was really ill at the beginning of it. So
yeah, Mary managed to get infectious mononucleosis or glandular fever at the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, which I think is one of the most hysterical things that has ever happened. So while everybody else was panicking about COVID-19, Mary was out for 2 weeks with glandular fever.
Let me tell you, being ill with like a really infectious, really bad virus for 2 weeks, while everyone else is on lockdown because of another really serious, really infectious virus, and while all of your friends are immunocompromised or don't live in Sheffield, and all of your family live 4 hours away, and your flatmate is quarantining at home and not here, it's not what I would recommend. But here we are. So thank you for bearing with us through my sickness, through Lauren's important work. And also thank you for bearing with us with the technical issues that may or may not arise. We're learning. Our tech isn't as great as it could be. So if there are any issues, please just do bear in mind that we're trying our best.
Yeah, just, let us know. Can't promise we'll do anything about it, but at least we'll be aware of it. That's important.
And for those of you who don't know who we are, I think maybe we should just explain who exactly we are. So my wonderful co-host here is a newly minted plague doctor, as well as.
Can I just say, calling me a plague doctor after saying that I've been doing important work during the virus makes me sound like some kind of weird angel of death and not an NHS key worker.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. But Lauren recently passed her Viva a few weeks ago. I don't know what time is anymore, so who knows when that was. But
I just know it was the day before you started showing signs of glandular fever because we panicked.
But yeah, Lauren is a recently minted doctor. And I don't know, do you want to explain some of your research? We know it's
Yeah,
Gothic.
it's Gothic. It's so Gothic, hella Gothic, all Gothic. Yeah. So I recently minted PhD. 7 years later. Part-time PhDs are long and lots of commitment, but won't say any more about that because it's depressing. But yeah, so my research my thesis was about representations of war and military masculinity in the late 18th century Gothic. So I was essentially interested in why so many 18th century Gothic novels have soldiers as heroes or villains, and started realizing that actually they're all either set in the backdrop of war-torn countries or they focus around wars. A lot of Radcliffe novels are about war. So I kind of thought, hey, these novels are published between the 7 Years' War and the Napoleonic Wars, two absolutely massive global conflicts that changed the face of Europe forever. People got really weird about them as well, like rise of English nationalism, not the best thing that's ever happened. So I thought, why not see why the Gothic was so important in that? So that was my research. But more broadly, I'm interested in constructions and deconstructions of masculinity in Gothic fiction. And I'm hoping to start working on representations of trauma, war trauma and PTSD in contemporary Gothic, when we can finally go to the library again. So that's me, and this is my wonderful colleague, Mary Going. Mary is very much the brain box behind everything at Sheffield Gothic. She is the absolute master of a spreadsheet, organizational genius. She is the originator of the hashtag Goths Assemble. Amongst many other wonderful things, Mary is the brains behind the Gothic Bible Project. She has a number of publications coming out soon, right? On her research.
Yeah. Okay. So my research interest is the intersection of religion and literature, and specifically the Gothic. And I'm interested in any kind of period and kind of religious narratives. My actual thesis focuses on the 18th and 19th century literature, and the depictions of Judaism and Jewish characters. So some of my publications kind of fit with that, and then one of them just really doesn't. So a few years ago, I had a chapter out on Jewish vampires in a great book, Horror and Religion, which if you haven't checked it out, you should. Recently, I had an article published on Zion, daughter Zion, mother Zion, and also witch hunt narratives in Ivanhoe, which I'm currently still researching now for my thesis. But that I'm quite, I'm pleased with that article. I think it's good. So if you are interested in Ivanhoe, I dig into the novel and some kind of film adaptations. You should check that out as well. And also something that has nothing to do with my research or my period. I have a chapter on supernatural and police procedurals coming out sometime soon. So watch this space, I guess, if you're interested in Supernatural, the TV show, or police procedurals. And that will be coming out in an edited collection on small s supernatural crime procedurals. So yeah,
we really did pick a field where you have to constantly be explaining this is not with a capital letter. Like, is it Gothic like capital G or small g? Supernatural,
yeah,
small g, capital Supernatural capital G. I spell how I want. Romanticism, you spell that with a P, obviously. Not confusing at all. But yeah, so you very much are like the kind of oracle figure, as in DC Comics, not like the Delphi Oracle, for Sheffield Gothic. So this is a project. We didn't birth Sheffield Gothic. We kind of inherited it, and then
that's very
and then shaped it into something. So this kind of came out of so the University of Sheffield has the Centre for the History of the Gothic, which was set up by professors Angela Wright and Andrew Smith, and there's quite a few Gothic PhD students at Sheffield and has been over the years. So things like the Gothic Reading Group started, and when I started my PhD and Mary was on her Masters, Gothic Reading Group was a chance for you once a month or twice a month to come together, discuss Gothic texts, and have a bit of social contact, because the PhD can be quite lonely even when you're not in lockdown. So we started attending Gothic Reading Group. It meant that there was a group of us that started going to conferences together, and then eventually myself and our esteemed Gothic queen, Kathleen Hudson, inherited the reading group and started running it, and thought, why don't we have our own conference, our own postgraduate conference? Apparently it's something you can just do. We were like, how do you have a conference? Turns out you just have one. There's like no rules, you have to make your own. So we started Reimagining the Gothic, the idea behind it being that academia is a big and scary place, and we should have a platform that is accessible, that's supportive, that is about new research avenues, that's not buying into some of the more restrictive and unhealthy elements of academia. We mentioned it to Mary, and then she turned up the next time and had basically set up a Twitter, done some spreadsheets, done research, done all this amazing stuff. So we co-opted her into leadership with us. And then unfortunately Kathleen abandoned us and went back to the US. Still sad about that. And the two of us kind of took over, and we decided to rebrand the reading group as a group. We started Sheffield Gothic as a collective, and in the 6-7 years since it's kind of originated, we've been slowly and steadily trying to build a community, build networks, build support systems. We have a blog, we have project websites, we do live tweeting. So essentially, we're trying to combine our research expertises, but also make something that is academic but also fun, and actually hopefully contributing something meaningful to society, in a way that everybody can access. And at the moment, considering that we can't have conferences and we can't have networking days and we can't have showcases, the best way to do that is taking our content online. So we're YouTubers now.
And I will when we upload this video, I will try and include all of the relevant links in the description box below, which hopefully should be somewhere down there if I can get everything to work. I'm very much more the behind the scenes person, working in the darkness and the shadow, and Lauren is very much the face of Sheffield Gothic. So yeah, we are very much a collaborative team. We do a lot of stuff together, and we work very well together. And I think we both complement each other in a way that works, and hopefully this will also be a space. As Lauren said, we can't do the reading groups at the moment, and we're still working on the conference, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to do that
anytime
soon. So hopefully this will be a space that we can still connect with you all, because we love hearing your research and your ideas and just talking about Gothic. And also hopefully it can be something that you will enjoy as well. So
I just miss my friends.
yeah.
Yeah, Reimagining the Gothic, we're really proud of it. It went from a one-day symposium to a full 3-day conference with double-track papers and panels. We have everything from third-year undergraduates to early career researchers presenting their research, and everybody is approaching it with the same level of critical integrity and academic rigor, but doing it in a way that is collaborative and supportive and accepting. And we try and invest in things like pronoun stickers and code of conduct, making sure that everybody's comfortable and protected. And that's not something that I want to just kind of let fall by the wayside. So we need to try and do something to keep that community going. But also, reimagining is when all of us like that are spread across the country or even the globe get together and play board games and eat pizza. And I'm real sad that I'm like 50% sad about the papers and, you know, the academic community and supporting new researchers, and like 50% sad about board games and pizzas with all of my friends. Maybe 60-40. I can't lie. I just love my little Gothic community. It's actually quite large.
I won't tell anyone.
I haven't said it on the internet. It's fine. I'm a professional. I have a PhD.
Okay, so that's who we are, and that's what Sheffield Gothic is. But I guess the next question is, why are we on YouTube?
Yeah, why are we on YouTube? Apart from the fact that we're obviously massive narcissists. No, I mean, up for debate. The reason that we're on YouTube is because YouTube is an accessible platform. If you have a device, you can watch YouTube. It's not paid. You don't have to download anything specific. There's less privacy issues. It's probably easier than, you know, trying to get a bunch of people on a Zoom meeting. So instead, there's just the two of us on a Zoom meeting. And what we thought we could do is take our live watch-alongs, our reading groups, maybe more interactive blog content where we can interview other researchers, talk about some of the weird things that happen in the Gothic, like, you know, a full French novel in which Anne Radcliffe is a vampire hunter on the eve of her wedding, or why Xander is the absolute worst character in the entire Buffy series.
The absolute worst.
The absolute worst character in the entire Buffy series. You know, all serious and important discussions. So we thought YouTube was the best platform for that. It's accessible, it's popular. Well, it's popular is maybe not an important factor. We're not trying to get famous here, but it's easy to access YouTube. It's easy to put content on YouTube. It's not pricing anybody out. It's not, you know, tech gatekeeping anybody out. Everybody can access it, and that's really at the heart of what we're doing. It's supposed to be something for everybody. So here we are. It's our Sheffield Gothic YouTube channel, and to kick it off, we thought, what better than for us to do a BuzzFeed Unsolved watch along. So why BuzzFeed Unsolved? So for those of you that don't know BuzzFeed Unsolved, it is a popular YouTube show produced by the multimedia website BuzzFeed that is split into 2 seasons, true crime and supernatural, in which the 2 hosts, Ryan Bergara and Shane Madej, look into either unsolved mysteries such as the Jack the Ripper murders or the Chicago poison pill deaths, I guess that murders, but also visit supposedly haunted locations, film in them, spend the night in them. So obviously as Gothicists, that is the kind of thing that we are interested in. We watched it a little bit last year at Reimagining, which was extremely fun. So we thought, why not kick off with a show that's already on YouTube so that everybody can easily watch it along with us.
Yeah, so I guess that comes to our announcement that on Saturday, so this Saturday, which is the 9th of May, Saturday the 9th of May at 6 p.m, we will be doing a watch along, and we invite you all to watch along with us. We will hopefully, if I can get the tech to work, be live streaming us as we watch it, and you can also watch along at home. We'll be watching the 3 horrifying cases of ghosts and demons, and again, the links will hopefully be somewhere below, if I can get that to work. And we'll obviously keep an eye on our Twitter. We'll tweet that out as well. So yeah, so this Saturday, 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. British Summer Time. We'll be watching.
British Summer Time.
That's what you're in.
British Standard Time, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Oh, we're GMT, Greenwich Median Time.
No, because it's BST now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, British Summer Time? Oh, okay.
Okay.
I have a PhD.
Anyway, it's 6 p.m. whatever UK time is.
UK time.
UK time, 6 p.m. We'll be watching the 3 horrifying cases of ghosts and demons. So yeah, we hope you can join us there.
Please join us.
It will be fun.
What more could you want than spending a Saturday night listening to Mary and I talk rubbish over a YouTube show?
So we are slightly obsessed with BuzzFeed Unsolved. So I guess before we sign off, let's just give a little explainer on that. So I went through a period when I was just obsessed with paranormal shows. So I don't know, do you watch any others, or is it just exclusively?
Not really. I used to watch Most Haunted when that was on TV. But I think it was really, well, it was you that got me into watching them a little bit, but watching Unsolved actually was because when I went to 3 years ago now, when I visited the Walpole Library, which is a subsidiary of Yale, and they have all of Horace Walpole's, most of Horace Walpole's extensive collection, in addition to other stuff. But I was incredibly jet lagged and on a different time to everybody else, so I just started watching YouTube videos because I didn't really have the mental capacity to do much else after spending all day trying to decipher a general's handwriting from 1762. So I started watching YouTube videos, and anyone that knows me knows I'm obsessed with food. So I started watching BuzzFeed's Worth It, and then YouTube's fantastic algorithm was like, here's BuzzFeed Unsolved. And I was like, I love unsolved mysteries. So then I started watching Unsolved obsessively and instantly was like, this is Mary's jam. She loves a paranormal activity show. And then I think it was when we went to Edinburgh for the Wikimedia Gothic editing event that I convinced you to watch BuzzFeed Unsolved finally.
Yeah, I get really obsessive when I watch things, and I'm not very good at watching things because I know I get really obsessive with them. So I tend to not watch things until there's a whole lot of content, and then I will just binge it all. So after that Edinburgh trip, I went home, and then I think a couple of weeks later I came in and to the office and just said to Lauren, oh yeah, by the way, I've watched all of BuzzFeed Unsolved. So I guess some of my other favorite shows that I find enjoyable to watch, just a quick shout out to Paranormal Lockdown, because it is great.
That
Paranormal Lockdown
is a great one.
Yeah, right. So Paranormal Lockdown, it has Nick Gruff, who, if you're into these kinds of shows, you may know from Ghost Adventures. Ghost Adventures is basically a load of dudes. And what I really like about Paranormal Lockdown is it also has Katrina Weidman. And they work really great together. And they basically go to some haunted locations around America. And they stay there for 72 hours in a lockdown. Why 72 hours? I don't really know. Whatever. And it is quite enjoyable. And I think one of my favorite things to do is they'll often like have a tour of the place, the asylum, the prison, or the hotel, wherever they're staying. They'll find the spookiest location, and then Nick will be like, okay, Katrina, that's where you're sleeping.
Yeah, this is the thing that I always think is really ridiculous about it. They're like, oh, here's they were in that morgue, weren't they? And they're like, oh, here's a sort of, here's one of the things where they saw the bodies. You can sleep in here. And she's like, yes, I will sleep in this storage unit for dead bodies while you like sleep in this room. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Every episode, without a doubt, that will happen. And it is great. It's very enjoyable. I personally don't believe in the supernatural, so I'm more interested in the stories that surround them.
Which is kind of why,
and even paranormal investigation as constructing stories, which I think is really interesting. But I think whether you do or don't believe in the supernatural, Paranormal Lockdown is a great show. Another one that I really love is a show called Ghost Brothers.
I was just gonna say, please say Ghost Brothers.
Yes, and
they're so wholesome. I love them so much.
So wholesome. It's the most wholesome paranormal show you will ever see. So their tagline, so it basically follows three guys. The tagline is, there's a new paranormal team of there's a new team of paranormal investigators here to answer 2 questions about ghost hunting. Are ghosts for real? And why is everybody white? Which I think is really important, because I think, you know, a lot of paranormal shows are, you know, have white hosts, but also a lot of ghosts somehow all seem to be white. And I think,
why are all ghosts like Victorian era women in bustles? Like where are like, there's more than like 150 years of history. Why are all ghosts from this one very specific period of time that happen to be obsessed with ghost stories?
Yeah, exactly. And I think these, you know, the hosts on the show do a really great job of kind of interrogating that, whilst also being super polite to all.
That's so sweet.
They're
so cute. I love them so much. They're just like an ideal model of friendship.
Yes.
Just yeah.
So it's wholesome, spooky content, and you can tell that they've made all their tech and they just carry it around in their SUV truck, and it's great.
I love that.
And then the final one that I'm just going to give a shout out to, not because I think it's great, but just because I think it's funny, is Ghost Stalkers. So if you like paranormal investigations, and you're also interested in wormholes, this
who isn't
you, right? Okay. So it aims to show that there are portals in the world's most haunted locations, and it does get a bit repetitive. But for those of you who are thinking of checking it out, one of the hosts is Chad Lindberg, who you may know from Supernatural. He stars as Ash from the Roadhouse, and I just think it's hilarious that he has his own paranormal show. Memorable episodes for me are the Holmesburg prison one. So if you are going to watch anything, just watch that one episode just to get a taste.
Yeah, feel for it.
Yeah, which I guess brings us back to BuzzFeed Unsolved, which I have to say, I've watched a lot of these paranormal shows, and this is probably my favorite. Because
that is high praise.
#Shaniac.
#Shaniac. Yeah, so we've had a lot of conversation about BuzzFeed Unsolved and why BuzzFeed Unsolved is the, you know, to sound super academic about it, why is BuzzFeed Unsolved the paranormal investigation show for the millennial generation? I hate myself for saying that out loud, but it is, and I think a big draw of that is not only the format that it uses. You know, it's using the YouTube format. You know, it's like it embraces, it's sort of it's not homemade, it's highly produced, it's made by BuzzFeed, like they make excellent content, but the way that it's produced, the way that it's structured, the fact that it's on YouTube also means that you don't have those moments before an ad break where it's like, what's gonna happen? And I think that makes a real difference to the way in which the narrative is constructed. But the biggest thing for us, both as fans and as, you know, people who study pop culture, is that you have Shane and Ryan. And Ryan is the guy that's kind of leading the show. He's doing the research. He's the one that's kind of planning the locations. And he is a very much believer in the supernatural. But he's also extremely funny. You know, watching Ryan get scared is extremely entertaining, but also very endearing. Whereas Shane is extremely skeptic. He doesn't believe in any of it, but I think the relationship that the two of them have and the way in which they then investigate these locations and the focus on the story, I think there's a lot more focus on, well, if this is haunted, why would it be haunted? And I think in terms of academic interest, like
really like about Shane is, for me, he is the kind of, you know, the skeptic. He doesn't automatically assume that nothing's haunted. He goes in with an open mind, and he's waiting for evidence, and he wants evidence to be presented to him, especially when it comes to aliens. But in the meantime, you know, he's happy to enjoy the stories, kind of dig a little deeper into, you know, what makes us interested in these stories, and why are certain spooky stories or certain unsolved crime stories, like, what is it about them that kind of makes them memorable?
Exactly. And I think that's why we've picked this episode to watch, not only because it's the first one where they do a proper supernatural investigation, but because the 3 locations that they visit are the Winchester Mystery House, the Island of Dolls in Mexico, and the Sally House. So these are all locations that are believed to be haunted for very specific reasons, and there's a story that goes alongside it. And I think this is why I find BuzzFeed Unsolved so engaging. It's not just this place is haunted, let's see if any ghosts pop up. It's more a kind of, and it's casual. The show doesn't set out to be interrogating these things, but really what it's interested in is why do we ascribe these stories of hauntings to these places? What has to happen in a place to have this idea ingrained in our cultural memory? Like, what shapes a place as haunted? Why do people buy into these things? And I think particularly with the Winchester House, which we know for a fact that most of the stories about the Winchester House aren't true. They're not true, but people are so fascinated and so sold on the idea that Sarah Winchester's haunted by the ghost of the lives taken by the Winchester rifle. It's such a compelling narrative. Even people that are skeptic kind of want it to be haunted. And I think that's really fascinating, why we as a global culture are really interested in always going back to these spooky stories. Why do we want places to be haunted? How do these things ingrain themselves into history in this way? And I think in a very sort of like jokey, casual way, that's what BuzzFeed Unsolved is doing. And I think having that balance between Shane and Ryan allows that to happen. In a way that's also extremely entertaining.
Yeah, they are also very wholesome in a different way to the Ghost Brothers, but they are very wholesome, and it's quite endearing, and it's fun, and also the hot dagger exists, so
Yeah.
It's just a really interesting way of engaging with the millennial generation, with their audience, and showing how narratives can be constructed, but also why they're important, and why generation after generation we keep going back to them.
All right, so we've probably talked for long enough. So we hope that you can join us on Saturday, the 9th of May at 6 p.m. BST, GMT, UK time, whatever the correct terminology actually is. With all being well, we'll be live streaming directly onto YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at Sheffield Gothic or at the Reimagining, and we'll be posting stuff on there. So hopefully you can join us. And in the meantime, stay safe and stay spooky.